Hi everyone, and welcome to the Red Brick House. So today I am wanting to make a angel Christmas tree topper. Now, when I was a little girl, my mom had taught me how to make yarn dolls. And then when I got a little older, we made yarn angels. I think we did it in school, if I remember correctly, but they were a very popular ornament or Christmas gift. Even when I was teaching, it's been several years now, it's been like 10 years now, but I used to receive a lot of these yarn made angels. And so I had all this fabric left over from my log cabin table runner. If you haven't seen that video and you would like to, you can find it here on my YouTube channel. And so I had all this left over, and I thought, wonder if I could make an angel with these strips of fabric. Now I may cut them in half and tear them so that they're a little bit thinner. I also have some ribbon, and I also have some yarn that is in this color scheme. So I'm thinking, I think I might just put all those things together and see if I can make a cute little angel for my Christmas tree with these. And so I hope this works out. I have not tried this before, so we're gonna find out together. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, I think I have all my supplies together now. I'm gonna talk a little bit about prep work. I know this kind of looks like a mess right now, but I had these strips that were left over from my log cabin project. And what I did is I went ahead and I wanted the strips to be thinner. And so I took all of those strips I had and I ripped them in half. And that gave me this really thin kind of piece of fabric here. And then I realized that I wanted my angel to be about a foot tall, or about 12 inches roundabout. And these were too short. So if I wanted it to be a foot tall, we're going to fold them over. And so I would need about 24 inches in length for these strips, and they weren't that long. So what I did is I took them and sewed them together, and I just laid one on top of the other and sewed it down. I didn't do anything, you know, I didn't even put right sides together, nothing like that. I just tacked it together. And because this angel is just going to sit on my tree, and then it's going to come down, it's going to go in a box until next year. So it's not something that, you know, is going to be, you know, manipulated a lot. So I don't think it needs to be incredibly strong. So I just kind of, I went back one way, or I went down one way. I can't talk, I'm sorry. Hey, slow down, I'm getting excited. I went down one way, and then I reversed it and sewed back, and then I clipped it off. And that's what I did with all these threads. I think all the prep work is going to take way longer than actually putting this together. I hope anyway, because I took quite a bit of time doing some prep work. So I did all that, and that's what you see here. And then I looked through some of my other stuff, and I did find some leftover yarn that was in the same colors. And so I just kind of cut some strips here of this beautiful, thick, chunky wool. I think it's supposed to be wool. I think it's only like maybe 10% wool. It's very soft, and I just like how it looks. So I grabbed these, and I took some other pieces that I had. I used them all, so I don't have any more of this. This was the leftover. But I took these other colors and I just braided them together. They were also pretty chunky. This darker one wasn't as chunky. It was a little bit smaller. Like you can see there, it was just a little bit thinner, but it worked out, and I really like how that looked. And so each of these braided ones are roughly about 24 inches. And in order to do that, now if you want to do something like that too, just know that I did 3 times the amount that I needed. So I wanted 24 inches. So I did, what is that, 36 inches? 3 times 12? That's what I did. And then my finished braid ended up at right around 24 inches. So just so you know, if you decide to do something like that, you will need to cut them a little bit longer. That's why these are longer, so I'll have to trim them. But I think I'm going to just put these in here. Like, it looks pretty just laid, you know, meshed in with these things. And then, so we'll kind of just, I'm just going to jumble them together right now. And then I bought a pack of ribbon remnants at Hobby Lobby, and I don't know if you've seen these, where you just see these really big packs of ribbons. A lot of times they're super bright colors, which I don't really love. I haven't bought those because I think probably most of this stuff is synthetic, and it probably won't dye very well, or I would buy some of those bright colors and dye them. But I saw these, and if they still have some, I think I'm going to go back and get quite a bit more because I absolutely love these colors. So let me bring them in closer just so you can see a little better. They're just kind of a gold and really like a blush pink. Like, this one's really pretty. Just very antique looking, and I love that. A couple of them are shiny, like this one, and this one has some like iridescent glitter in it. It's really pretty. So I thought about using some of these too, because I think they would be really pretty mixed in. Now, you can just go wild here. You know, you could do all the same fabric, or you could do all the same yarn, or you could do ribbon. You could do anything you wanted here. I'm just going to mesh things together that I already have and that I want to use up. Now, I have some jute twine, but it's pretty thick. It's a pretty thick twine, so I don't know. I might cut some of this and add it in here. I don't think it's needed. I thought I would tie it together with this, but I just think it's too thick. And so when I looked through my jewelry stuff, when I was looking for my wire cutters, and I found I had some hemp cord here that's like used for jewelry. But I'm going to use that to tie my angel up, to tie it, that didn't sound very nice, to tie her together and keep her from coming apart. And then I also have this, what is this, 18 gauge wire that I'm going to use for the halo. I chose a copper rather than a gold because I just liked the pink color. And I thought the 18 gauge would be bendable enough that it would be easy to bend, but not super bendable where it's just going to bend as soon as you touch it, like a ribbon or something. So I chose 18 gauge. I hope that will work. I went down to the 16 at the store. I was debating, and I don't know, the 16 is pretty stiff, so I don't know. So I got this one. And then I got my wire cutters out. I have 2 different pairs of scissors because I'm also going to cut out of this like poster board paper. I'm going to cut a cone to use as for her body, but I'll do that later on. So I think that is all the supplies I have. I think I have everything that I need, hopefully. And I'm sorry I keep bumping the camera. I'm gonna move you over just a bit this way. Okay. So now, let's get my drink out of the way. Okay, so to put this angel together, I am going to separate these piles. I'm going to separate them back out. So I'm going to put my ribbon in one pile over here. You might not be able to see it, but it's there. And then I'm going to put my braids in a different section. And then I'm going to put these yarn pieces in another section. And then I'm going to section off my different colors here. And it'd be really helpful if you had a bigger table. Actually, I can make my table bigger. Hold on. You can't see this, but I have a table. This is an antique table that I'm working on, and it has 2 flaps on the end that go down like that to make the table smaller. So, and you can choose, you can have 1 flap up, 1 flap down. So I just put my other one up so it gives me more room, even though you can't see it. That's what I'm doing over here. Okay, so now I'm going to separate out these colors, and I'm going to do that except for this one because I sewed this one together because I don't think anybody will see it, except I just showed you. So now you know. I had 2 left over. I was like, I'll just sew those together. Okay, So I'm gonna separate these out because when I put my angel together, it's gonna be kind of random, but then it's not. So it's gonna be mostly random, but I want an even distribution, there we go, of colors and patterns. I don't want like a clump of the same color together. So I'm gonna separate these out, and then I'm going to just pull from them one at a time, so that I make sure I kind of get just a good good representation of all these colors in here together, and they're not like side by side each other. I don't care if a few of them are, but I just don't want it. I'm not going to be that precise with it, but I don't want a clump of them together. Although that might be cute on its own if you just did different clumps and then put them together. Like I said, this project you could do so many different ways. Like, just be creative if you want to make one of these. So, okay, I have everything like this. But I almost wish I had another table that I could put this on and then pick them up as I go. But that would be hard to film. So, I'm going to just start pulling. I might pull like a light and then maybe a dark, and I'm just going to line them up together like this, and I'm just going to hold them together. I do want to make sure that the printed pretty side here, well, depends on what you think is pretty, but the printed side, I don't want the back side being on the front of my angel. So I am going to make sure that when I'm gathering these, that I do kind of want to line them up, even though they should pretty much all be the same. But I kind of want to line them up like that and make sure they're all laying the same way. So I'm just going to hold these in my hand, and I'm just going to start picking some random colors. I'll pick maybe a different dark color or a color I haven't picked yet. And I'm just going to lay that in here. Like I said, it doesn't really matter if they all line up. I don't think I'm even gonna bother making sure those are lined up, to be honest. So anyway, this yarn will be longer, and I'll have to trim it at the end, and I'll probably do that once I get her all done. I'll trim up her little dress at the end to make sure that she looks nice. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep going through here until I get all of these positioned here in my hand. And I'll come back when I have them all together here, so that you don't have to watch me painstakingly do this, because this is going to take a little bit of time. But every once in a while, I'm just going to add in a ribbon. I don't have that many ribbons, so they're going to be kind of few and far between. So I'll wait until I get a pretty good bundle here together, and then I'll put in a ribbon. So, like I said, that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep doing this, and when I have them all together, I'll show you how you fold them and tie them off. It's really simple if you've never seen this done before. Okay, so I have all my strips together here, and it is quite a big bundle, but I love the different colors. I love how it looks. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some string cut, because I just have this is kind of a tangled mess here. So I'm just going to pull some of this string out, maybe about 2 feet, maybe 2 to 3 feet. And I'm going to cut it so that I already have it ready when I do this. So I have my string right here, and I'm going to take my bundle and I'm going to fold it in half. Now I have on this end down here, you can't see, but I have a lot of stragglers because of a lot of these ribbons and things are much longer, and I will trim those out in just a little bit. But I want to find my midpoint of this, which is about, not counting the stragglers, it's about right here. I'm going to slide my string underneath there. And I'm just going to tie it all together. That way I can kind of keep everything in place. So I'm kind of doing this sideways here, but I think that's about right. It's kind of hard to judge. I could measure it, but I really don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to pull it really tight as I can pull it. And then I'm going to tie another knot. So kind of like a square knot. Should hold it. Let me go one more time under there. Okay. I'm holding it here with my finger right here so that it doesn't slip away from me. I'm going to try to hold that tight while I pull this. And it's going to be a little tricky, but I just do it quick. Okay. Now I have that cut. And these strings can just be part of the angel here. Okay, so now I'm going to fold it in half like this with my stringed part up here at the top. And I'm going to put it together like this. And I'm going to ball it up. Like I said, I'm going to have those little strings right there. You can see them at the top. I'm just going to kind of put them in there. I don't want it sticking up. That's the thing. So what you can do, honestly, is you can kind of fluff that up and put that back there where it wants to go. Okay. So now I'm going to make the head. Now you do want quite a big bundle for it to look full. If you don't have a lot, it won't look very full. Okay, maybe you don't want to fluff that up because that's going to make her head look weird. Okay. So I'm just shaping the head here and trying to grab it where I want it to be. Another thing you could do if you didn't have, like if you felt like you didn't have enough, you could put one of those dryer balls, or you could do a wool like felted ball of your own, and you could put that underneath here if you wanted to. I think that would work just fine. And then you're going to tie it off again. Another thing to help you with this is you could use rubber bands. It would be very helpful if I had a rubber band and I could just put this here until I get to, my tying. But I didn't think about that ahead of time, so I'm just going to fix her right there. I'm just going to get another piece of string. So I probably should have cut a couple of these instead of just one. But it's pretty easy to grab. So I'm just going to get another piece of string about a foot long. Whatever doesn't get in there will just become part of the angel. Okay. And so I'm going to put that underneath here. And then I'm going to come up where I think I want it to be, and I'm going to tie another knot the same way I did before. So let me look at it before I pull it in too tight. I think some of this stuff needs to be pushed down. So make sure you can kind of adjust this once you're done, but it will, depending on how tight you tie it, it might make it a little harder. Okay, so, and some of them might kind of pull out as you try to tie it. That's what's kind of happening to me, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to pull it really tight, as tight as I can. And I'm going to tie a square knot. I got my pinky holding that down there, and I just pull it tight. Now, because I couldn't get it that tight, I really want it tighter. See, look, I have too much slack right there. I'm going to see if I can pull it apart and retie that and see if I can do a better job. Okay, now I have tied that, and then you can kind of decide which side you want to be her front and which side you want to be the back. I might do this side as her front because I kind of like the ribbon coming through here and this braid coming through here, so I think I might make that side my front side. I don't know, I like the colors over here too. Oh, it's hard to decide. Okay, if I'm going to make this side my front where I tied it, Then I will probably just tie this into a little bow. Let's just say, I'll just do it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you in a little closer so you can kind of see better. So now I have this string here, and I'm just, if this is gonna be my front side, if it's the back, then it won't matter. I mean, you could turn it to the back if you wanted to, but if it's going to be the front, I want her to look pretty. So I'm gonna tie that into a little bow, and just like she has a little necktie. And then I'm just gonna let these pieces hang down into the body here. Okay, so now you can kind of manipulate these how you want. Okay, and now I'm going to decide where I want the arms to be. So I don't want to pull her little string into the arms. So I'm just going to pull a few of these out, and I'm going to make the arms. So I'm just going to kind of separate a few out, a little bundle, and then I want to separate a little bundle over here, kind of about the same amount. I'm not going to count or anything, but I want kind of the same amount. I have more on this side, so oh, I have a braid over here. That'll thicken it up. Okay. Nope, I still need more. I need more. Okay, so maybe about like that. So now that's about even, and these are going to become my arms. So I'm just going to lay her flat, and I'm going to pull those arms out like that. Okay, now to do the arm, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gather up this fabric that I have allocated to my arm here, and I'm going to come up pretty high to kind of make this shoulder, and I'm just going to make sure that's my string's even here, and I'm going to tie a knot same way we did in the head. Let me see, maybe a little closer up. Just kind of making a shoulder here. It's much easier to tie this part than it was around the neck because there's less stuff there. Okay, and then I'm going to gather it up again. And now I want to see how long I want the arm to be. I don't want the arm as long as, you know, the dress that's down here. So I think I want the hand to stop about right here. So I'll probably cut all this off. So I'm going to, I want it to be about that long. That means I'm going to put my ribbon right here. And like I said, if you used rubber bands, then you could really play with how you wanted it, you know, without it being like tied really tightly or, you know, permanent. Okay, let me check it again. I'm going to cut all off to about right there. So that looks good. So that's where I'm going to do my arm. I'm going to pull it really tight, hold it tight as I tie another knot. And then I'm going to make a little bow just like I did up here for her neck. I'm just going to tie a little bow here. And this hemp, if you're using this like I am, this hemp cord, I got it in the jewelry section. You can find it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Walmart might have it, I'm not sure. But if you get it wet, like if you tie it like this and then you get it wet, dab it wet, and then kind of pull it tight, it'll kind of swell up, and then when it dries, it'll kind of be set, and it won't be as easy to come apart. Okay, and so now I'm going to cut these pieces off. And I don't want to just cut straight across. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to first make a guide of where I kind of want her hand to be. So I'm going to do it about right here, and I'm going to cut at an angle and cut that piece off like that. And so then I'm just going to come through here. I don't want them to all be the exact same length or the same like pattern. So I'm just going to cut them off here in different directions. The fabric, I mean, and the ribbons. Now that is my braid. I'm going to have to fix that again, because my braid came down in here and I don't want to cut, and it shouldn't ravel out anyway because it's tied off, but I think I'm going to just tie that in a tiny knot up a little higher to where I have the string at, kind of like that, and then let it hang down, and then I can trim it off some more. I'll trim off all these long pieces. Now I'm going to check my arms and make sure that they are the same length. And it kind of looks like one is shorter than the other. It is a little bit, so that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the shorter one, take this one, and I'm going to see if I can slide it up a little bit. I might not be able to. And if I can't, it's okay. I'll just try to trim some more off of this one. It's really hard to get them exactly the same unless you measure it, which I don't really do that. This is not, I didn't want this to be a fussy project to where, you know, I had to kind of do that. So I think, let's see. We'll do like hairdressers do, and I'm going to bring them to the front. This one's definitely shorter. So I'm going to trim some more off of her hand, and I think it'll be fine. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. I think they're really pretty close to the same length now. Okay, and so now when you make yarn dolls, you would gather it up right here and make a waist, and then you could split it off and make legs. I don't think I'm going to do that. I really want this to just be her whole dress. I really don't, I mean, I could do it really up high, because it might just look kind of weird if it's just a straight dress, like an octopus. So I don't want her to look like an octopus. So I think, and I have some I found some other ribbon. I have this lacy bit that I was going to use as a trim on something. Would that be pretty around her neck? Well, let's try it out. I know, I feel like I'm taking way too long to do this. I'm sorry, y'all. This is just my creative process. Sometimes I think something's going to look a certain way and then it doesn't end up looking that way. And then I have to try something else. And I don't want to tie this too tight in case I don't like it, and then it'll be all wonky and I'll have to iron it. Okay, that looks better, I think, but it's still like, it's too flat and I don't like how it's curving up. But that does look better. It looks better than the rest of it did. That other stuff did, I think. It looks a little bit more fitting. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it for now. And I am going to, I think I will bring this together right here in a waist. Because I feel like if I don't, she'll just kind of look like an octopus. And I don't want that. Although, a lot of times you see their angels in their, because let's see. it will look fuller because she's gonna have that cone in there. But yeah, it looks like an octopus to me. Okay, I'm going to give her a waist then. I'm gonna give her a waist. I mean, if I don't like it, I can always take it out. It's no big deal. So I'm gonna tie off the waist in the same way that I've been tying everything else. It won't be any different. So there she is. Now you can see the bottom here. Her dress is very long. So I'm going to trim this up. I'm just trimming off the long pieces. I really don't want to take any length off of this little angel here. Sorry. So now her dress is all trimmed up. She's looking better. I'm gonna have quite the leftovers here. Okay. So let me show you what I have for the wings. I'm gonna put her aside for a minute. And I have some of this rose fabric left over. And because I'm using leftovers, this is gonna be a little bit different. If I had a bigger piece of fabric, I would cut a strip, almost like you would do a ribbon, and make it that way. And then you would have, your wings would be all one piece. But I don't have a long enough piece of this fabric, and I really wanted this for her wings. And so what I have done is I've just taken these strips. They're roughly about the same size, and I'm going to fold them in half. Now the edges aren't going to line up, but that's okay. I'm going to fold it in half like that. If I had my sewing machine out and available, but it's put away because I don't have enough room to leave it out all the time, I would stitch this across and then I would gather it. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it by hand. So all I'm going to do is just kind of a basting stitch across here. So I'm basically just doing a running stitch. Now, I'm going to lay my needle down. I'm going to take this thread that I was using and I'm just going to pull it. And I'm hoping that will just knot up or gather up. And it did. So that's what I want. So I'm going to gather it up like that. Okay. I'm going to gather it up like that. Then I'm going to stitch this together. So where my thread is coming out, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to sew through these layers of fabric here. I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to get through all of them at one time, and that's okay. But I'm going to just kind of stack them up and go through them. And I'm hoping that that's going to keep them all together. There we go. See, like that. Okay, and I'm going to do that a couple of times, not just once. I'm going to do it several times because if I let go, they're going to come apart. So I'm just going to keep doing that. So just stitch through those layers until you feel like it's secure. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other one, of course. And that gives you a nice little, when you fold it out like that, it's going to give you a nice little wing for the angel. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. Like I said, if I had a long piece of fabric left over, I would have just used that and done it kind of like how you tie a bow. Well, not tie a bow, but you know how you make a bow without tying it? I don't know how to explain it. But that's what I would have done. That's what I was planning to do. And then when I looked at my fabric, I thought I had more of this than what I had. And so that's how it goes. But I'm making it work. Sometimes that's what you have to do. Okay, so now I have both of my wing pieces here. And I'm going to take those And I'm going to kind of place them back here. If I turn my angel over, I have some, you know, pieces of fabric here that I think I can just tuck them under there like that. So I'm going to put them there, and then I'm going to see what they look like on the other side and see if that's a good placement for them. I could pin them down, but I'm just going to kind of hold them there. So it'll look like that on her, and I think that looks really good because I can always play with them and kind of pull them, you know, pull them up a little bit like that. So I think that looks great. So I think that's where I'm going to sew them down at. Let me turn her around. So if I put them under here, it'll just hide this edge here and you won't even know it's there, and it'll just look nicer instead of just sewing them down like that. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to do one at a time. And this piece of fabric is kind of folded in, so I'm going to try to do it like that. And I'm just going to slide it right under there. I can pull this tight after I get it placed, but I don't want to pull it too tight because I do want to kind of be able to see underneath here where I'm stitching. All I need to do is stitch this red fabric to the wing there. So if I turn it this way, maybe you can see better. So if you see that inside there, I just need to attach this to that. I don't have to go into the body because like I said, these are not going to be, she's not going to be thrown around or anything. So, okay, I'm going to turn her this way. And I have some thread that matches this red fabric because, I mean, you will probably be able to see that stitching, but my tree kind of backs up to a wall, so nobody will see the back side of my tree really. I don't know how most places are, or most houses are, but my tree has always kind of backed up to a wall. So anyway, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Okay, so I'm going to go under here. I'm going to go through those layers of fabric. You want a pretty sharp needle that can handle that. And then I'm going to pull through like that. Then I'm just going to stitch along the top here. So just like a running stitch. I'm going to try to keep my stitches small. I don't want big stitches, but we just want to get it attached on there. But I do want it to look nice. So I'm going to come back through there, pull my needle. I hope my hands aren't in the way too much. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. Pull it kind of tight. And then I'm going to kind of come back up. Look where I am on the top here. And I'm just going to keep doing that. That's all there is to it. I don't think it's, you know, going to be difficult at all, except that it's kind of hard to get your needle through here. I just don't want to pull this fabric out because then it might be hard to get it back in. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, this burgundy fabric here, because it's tied down right there. And if it starts getting away from you, you can tug it a little bit because it has a pretty short tail. And I don't want it to pull completely out because that will be hard to get it back under there. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to do the same thing with the other wing. I'm just going to tie off and hide this under there. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side, and then I'll come back and we'll be ready to do the cone next. Okay, I've got both of my wings sewn on, and now what I'm going to do at the end here is that for me, apparently this little piece of fabric had a flap in it when I guess it was underneath this lace, and then it kind of came undone. So then I had this flap of fabric right here, and my stitching is down here. This was the very first one I did. So I'm going to fix that, and I don't like how these are kind of pulling apart because of the wings. So I am going to stitch these two pieces together. So I'm just going to kind of do a zigzag stitch. So my thread is coming out of this one. So I'm going to bring my needle over here, and just on the edge, I'm going to stitch these back and forth. I actually think it looks kind of cute like that. I'm just going to kind of rough it up a little bit. Okay, so let's look at it. There we go. I don't think that looks bad at all. Like I said, it's on the back. My back of my tree faces a wall. I mean, you will, if you really look up, you will see it. But I mean, how many people are going to be, oh, how did you attach that angel together? You know, nobody's going to do that. And if they are critiquing that, then, you know, maybe they're not a good friend. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to turn her back around and fix her because she got a little shifted. Okay, and I'm going to bring the camera back out so you can kind of see the whole picture here, how she's coming together. So I'm really loving her. I think she's really, really cute. I think she's really cute. Here. Oh, that's as far back as I can go. Okay, so now I am going to make a cone out of it's poster board. I think cardstock might be a little bit too flexible, and cardboard would probably be too hard, but you could use like what they call chipboard, like off the back of a tablet of paper or something like that. Might work too. I'm using this poster board here. It's too big. I'm gonna have to cut it down. Let's look at how long she is. I want the dress to hide the cone, so I don't want it to be down here, you know, past her dress. But I would say, I'm just measuring it by my angel here. I'm going to cut about like, I want my cone to be about right here. So this is my wrong scissors. I forgot to get my paper scissors. These are my fabric scissors. Okay, I'm gonna make a slice there. And that'll give me about 1 inch to the bottom of my dress here for her. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out a rectangle. It's going to be kind of a rough rectangle. Does not need to be precise, really. Okay. So I have a rectangle kind of like that. Hopefully it's big enough. I can always make another one if it's not. I'll give you a rough estimate. Mine is about 9.5 inches in length here by about 5.5 here, roughly. So I'm gonna take, let's see how I used to do this, if I can remember how to do it. I'm gonna take opposite corners, and I'm going to have this hand facing this way and this hand facing up, and you're just gonna curl it in and make a cone. Whoops, let me do that again so you can see better. Okay. So I'm just gonna curl it in like that and make a cone. About like that. However big you think that it will be for your tree topper. Now you don't have to hold it like that. That's just how I do it. And you can kind of manipulate it, get it to the size you want. I think that's a pretty good size for me. Doesn't need to be super pointy at the top. And before I cut anything off of it, I'm going to staple it shut. Now you could glue this, but I find that stapling works better. So I'm just gonna put a staple right inside there. It's kind of loud, sorry. And then if I can get my stapler, I'm not gonna be able to get my stapler in there. Let me see if I can get another one in there. I think I can. I can go up the side and get another stapler. If you had a long arm stapler, that would be perfect. I don't have one. Hopefully I don't tear up my paper. Okay. I'm gonna cut that. Okay, so now we have a cone shape, and I'm just gonna trim it up. So I'm gonna trim this part off. You could glue it down too if you wanted to. And I'm going to trim off this side because it looks like that. So I just want it to be round. So I'm just going to trim it off just like that. And it doesn't have to look perfect because it's going to be covered up anyway. So now we have a cone. Just like that. And now here is where I would glue it in. Okay. You could hot glue it. You could use fabric glue. I will probably use hot glue. I don't have that in here with me at the moment, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So here's her waist. Here's her tie at her waist. I'm going to separate my fabric. I mean, this is really simple. This is just, you know, put it where you think it should go. I'm just going to separate kind of evenly. I'm going to try to do it as evenly as possible. You don't want all your fabric to the front or all your fabric to the back. And then you would just glue it in here. I would probably put glue around the edge right here and then put it up as far as it will go and then just let it sit and let that cool down and set. And then I will glue a few more rounds of glue right around here. I won't glue it all the way to the bottom. And then after it's all glued, then you can pull your fabric down and see if that's gonna work for you. And if you feel like it's too long, like mine is probably a little bit too long, then I may trim some of that off. Okay, so I want to glue everything at the same time, and I'm going to glue on the little halo I'm going to make. So I'm going to make that next. So I'm going to put her aside. And I'm going to open up this wire here. Like I said in the beginning, it's 18 gauge wire. And I have some wire cutters here. And I also have this tool. It is kind of like pliers, but they're round here. You can get, I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. I think it's called like an earring turner or something like that maybe. It's in the jewelry section. I've had these forever. I've had them for a really long time. But they're really good at turning wire because they have these rounded edges. So it will pinch it a little bit, but it won't like kink your wire so much. And so, in fact, I'm just going to take those and undo this right here. I'm going to try to shape it with my fingers rather than this tool in case you don't have one. I think you could probably do that, especially with this wire, because this wire is not incredibly hard to work with. I'm hoping I can get it as smooth as possible. So I'm not going to pull it because it's in a spiral form, okay? So I don't want to pull on it. It will make a mess. So I'm just going to gently pull off like this. I'm just going to gently kind of pull out quite a bit so I don't have to go back into this, so I can put it away. I think that's enough. And then I'm going to clip it, cut it off. I'm going to turn that edge in so I'm not poking myself with it. And then I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to fold it I'm going to fold this back over something, like maybe over that. That way it doesn't come just like that. And that kind of holds it together and it doesn't come out. I could do the same with this end that I just cut and turned. Probably do it with my fingers, and I'm just going to kind of latch it on like that. And there, now it won't come apart. And because this can kind of spring open sometimes, some of them do with like a slinky would or something. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so this end down here, it's very crumpled from the, from the manufacturers or, people touching it in the store. It's very hard to hold on to. Okay, it's very crumpled. So I'm going to cut all that off. So I'm going to start about right there, and I'm going to cut off all this like kind of wonky stuff. Now this is more smooth here. Okay, so now I am just gently going to pull this open. And now I'm starting to get a circle. don't want to put any kinks in it, so this is going to be very tricky. And once I get a size of a circle I want, I can kind of cut the rest off. I want it a little bit bigger than what this over here. I wanted it a little bit bigger than this, I think. So here's her head, and here's my circle here. It's probably really hard to see on this background, but I think that's going to work. So you just get the size that you think looks good to you. I mean, there's not a science to this, so it's just, you know. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is maybe I'll bring that in closer. There we go. It kind of overlaps. So see, it's sort of like a spiral, kind of like a spring here. I'm going to put those two together. I'm not going to worry about this back here for now. But I'm going to take this long straight piece I have here, and I'm going to gently bring it under and bring it up through here, because that's going to be the piece that's going to come down and be like the bottom of the halo. So, and it is tricky. To work with. I don't know if I can do it like this. I might need this tool. Yep, the tool works wonders, but you can work it with your fingers. It's a little tricky, but you can do it. So I'm going to straighten that out. I'll trim it off in a minute. I'm going to kind of keep it straight so it doesn't curve. Okay, and then this piece here, I still want to lock this down a little bit more. So where this overlaps right here, you can barely see it, it kind of overlaps. I'm going to push it back and down with this one here. So I'm just going to do it like that. I can do it with my finger. It's not that bad. And then I'm probably going to use my tool and try to bring it over together. I want to bring both of these. Now I have it overlapped, and I want to bring both of these, make that straight. I want to bring both of these tails together, and that will secure that right there. So I can probably do it with my hands. I'm going to try to get it pretty close together. I think that's pretty good. And then what you're going to do is twist it. That's what I'm going to do. Yep. So I just gave it a twist. And then I'm just going to keep twisting. You could use a tool, but it's working out pretty well to just use my fingers. Now it might not be the prettiest. I'm trying to make it pretty. I'm trying to. But I'm just going to keep twisting and trying to keep it straight as I go. It does get trickier the further away from the center of the circle you get. It does get a little trickier. I wish I could keep it really even. That's my goal, but there we go. So that it looks like a nice twist. The key is to keep these pieces up. When they start coming down like this, then you get a longer twist. So you want to try, if you want a tight twist on this, you want to keep them out like that. So I kind of have to reposition them every time I twist. This is kind of fun. Kind of enjoying this. So about every 2 twists, I have to kind of reposition them. Oh, that's looking good. I think that looks nice. I mean, I kind of messed up here, but that's okay. I think it looks pretty good. Like I said, it does get a little bit trickier the further out you get. because it gets a little bit harder to hold on to it. That might be enough. I want to get it long enough where it stands out, because it's got to come up and above her head. So I need to keep going. I mean, I could glue it to the back of her head, but I'm aiming to glue this in behind this lace right here. So I'm going to keep going and hope that my tails are long enough. Like I said, this is not an exact science. It's going to be different depending on the size that you made. I may have to hold it with my tool and twist because it's getting hard to hold. I'm going to just, no, I can't do it. Okay. Maybe the faster you go, the easier it is. I don't know. Try to straighten it out when I'm done. Because as I'm holding it, it's bending in my hand. This is getting really wonky, but I'll try to fix that once I'm done twisting here. Okay, I'm almost to the end. Yeah, I'm pretty much just twisting that one around. Okay, here we go. So now I'm just going to try to straighten that up, and I'm going to try to make this as straight as I possibly can. It's a little, you know, because it's twisted, so it's a little crooked. Okay. Now, try just straightening it up. Okay, now I'm going to fold this down, fold the halo down. So I'm going to pinch it with this tool as I kind of gently push this over like that, because I don't want to mess up my circle. Okay, and we have a halo. My idea of a halo anyway. So it's going to go just like that on her head. Now let me see on the back. Okay, so where, we can fix her up here. Okay, so I want it to stand up and above her head, and this is where, like I would tell you, you know, just, you're gonna have to just use your best judgment of where you want it to be. I'm gonna kind of put it under this lace. I might need to trim mine off a little bit. Mine's going right between those two fabrics, and if I can get it underneath, that would probably be great, if I can get it under there. There we go. Now, it's very loose, so I am going to have to secure it. You could sew it down if you wanted to. Like I said, I think I'm going to glue mine in place right here under this lace. I'll probably glue it to the body of the angel, and then I'll probably glue it to this lace of the angel here. And because if I take this lace off, it'll be glued to that, and I don't want, you know, I don't want that really, but that's what I'm going to do. So now all I have to do is put the cone in and glue on this halo, and then she'll be all finished. Oh, I'm so excited. I think she's really cute. I hope you like her too, because I really think she's really cute. I could see, like, I mean, I think you could probably make these and sell them at like a craft show, and I really think people would buy them because she's just really cute. Okay, so I'm going to go get my glue gun, and I'm going to glue that in place. I don't think you need to see me gluing it. I think, you know, we all know how to use a hot glue gun. But I'm going to put her together, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on her and how she turned out. Okay, here she is. She is all complete. I love her so much. I'm just in love with her. I'll give you a close-up from the top to the bottom. Here's her little halo. And then here's her wings, her little arms here, and then her dress. The only thing I want to do is that I'm holding her like this. I don't know if I can, how well I'm going to get this on camera, but I'm holding her up, straight up and down. And here at the bottom, some of my fabric is way longer than other pieces. Like some of it in the back, let me turn her around, like right here. Let me turn her sideways. So I have some really short pieces, and then I have like these really, really long pieces, and I want her to look ragged. I want it to kind of look like that, but there are a few pieces that I kind of want to trim up around the bottom. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to switch hands, and I'm just going to hold her up and anything, kind of give her a shake. And there's a couple of pieces like right here. There, so I think that looks a lot better. I just wanted to trim up some of those kind of pieces that were way longer than the rest of her. And so let me show you what she looks like on the back. So I'll turn her over. And here's the back. So you cannot even see my glue at all. I did glue it here. And also what I did that I didn't mention before is that I put a little dot of glue here and a little dot of glue right here, because her wings were kind of drooping and I did not want that. It wasn't a good look. And so I just did that. I just put a dot of glue here, a dot of glue there, and that held them up. So you can see it's kind of tacked on. So it's not going to fall down when she's hanging up. And so I just love her. I think that she is probably one of my best projects that I've made in a while. So I hope you love her too. Let me know in the comments if you plan on making something like this. I would love to hear about it. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. It really helps my channel when people watch my videos all the way to the end. And so I just thank you so much for that. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos, more crafts, and especially my Christmas crafts, because I have a few more coming. And so with that said, I will see you in the next video. Bye.